Yeah,
Like,
so stock market, here's what the weekly chart. Here on the left side, we have the
oh,
S&P 500, the SPY, and on the right, we have the QQQ, which is basically the NASDAQ.
yeah.
And if you look at it, the SPY is like, is pulling back and
Yeah.
dropping. And similarly, with the SPY and the QQQ, you can see the SRSI, or the stock RSI, was like topped out,
Yeah.
and then it
For a
flipped
while.
and went into a downward
Yeah.
trend. Yeah, it was like topped out for a while, so it
It
was just
needed
like a
it.
matter of
Yeah,
time till
it
it
needed
cools
this
off.
cool off, and then again, the cool off still, while it looks pretty drastic from the like close up of like the last few weeks or even like month or so,
Mhm.
it really isn't that big of a sell off in the big picture here. We're still well
Yeah,
above
like
old
if you
time
look,
highs from the previous peak.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So like how the lines that I've marked out is basically the last line, like is where like the monthly support is. So I mean, so like the quarterly also just like closed, and then the monthly also closed. So it's only natural for it to pull back.
yeah.
And again, SR flip, that's it. All it's trying to do is like do an SR flip.
Yeah. So
And so like
it's likely going to
long,
pull back for the next few weeks and then make it to that monthly support.
exactly.
By which point the weekly SRSI will also be very oversold and we'll be
Yeah.
ready for that next bounce. And then that's hopefully, the bounce happens at monthly support, which then confirms the breakout of that trend line and confirms that it has in fact flipped from resistance into support. And then we can move
Mhm.
the next leg up in this bull market.
Yeah,
This is very
exactly.
much,
Because like it's interesting that the supports also line up with our
yeah,
indicator strength band. So it should that area should hold if we are still in a
yeah.
long-term
If we want to remain
bullish trend.
bullish, exactly. So
Yeah.
if basically what we want to watch those areas for is to maintain our long term sentiment. So if those areas don't hold and we start closing full days and full weeks below that mark, then we can reassess and maybe shift maybe to
Risk
a
off.
more maybe a more short term kind of like or a short exposure position rather.
Yeah.
It's definitely all of this stuff is definitely just from watching the charts at the moment. We're looking at the charts, seeing what the charts are saying and what the charts want to do. There's of course quite a bit of real world like news that's happening lately. There's a bit, obviously
Yeah.
there's a lot of unrest and a lot of uncertainty that comes with that, and there will always be news that will be easily correlated with what's happening in a market. On a good day, there will always be good news. On a bad day, there will
Yeah.
always be bad news. And so,
But we just
sticking to the
trade the
charts,
chart because yeah, like it already looked like the market was going to pull back, whether it's crypto or stock.
yeah,
So like of course, like so like I mean, like the chart kind of showed us that like it's already going to happen. So
yeah,
that's why we're not panicking
yeah.
yet
It's
or
not.
anything.
It doesn't feel like we need to. We're not seeing necessarily market activity that is reactionary to world events.
Hmm.
This seems more
Hmm.
like market activity that was projected by the chart activity, and doesn't seem outside of the norm. And so, again, I'm not super shaken out by it, and I'm gonna do what I've always done and stick to the chart and watch the chart versus trying to make my investment decisions based on news and world affairs.